and welcome to the Gothic Unicorn. In this video we're going to be looking at dressing some of the items that we've created for the attic project. Now everything that I've got out here are things that I've already made that I now need adding to. I decided I was going to do this time because I've been sorting. If you follow the Gothic Unicorn over on Facebook, you'll know that I've been sorting furniture and it's not been easy. Because the house was pretty much decorated, it was certainly all furnished, I've got enough furniture, more than enough furniture, to fill that entire big doll's house. And I don't need a lot of it. So I've been sorting it out. I've been deciding what will need to go to a new home, what I'm going to keep for the house's renovation, what might be used for the renovation, and what I might use for other projects in the future. Those bits that I just can't get rid of. While I've been doing that, I have also rediscovered a lot more of the small stuff. Now, I have shown you some of the favourite little bits and pieces that I've got previously, but I've got a lot more, a hell of a lot more, and that's going to take a lot of sorting out. But what I decided was that the attic is going to be the perfect place to maybe showcase a few of them. Those pieces that I don't really know where they belong. And yeah, we're going to try and put a few of them into the attic. I've obviously got my wonderful cupboard to fill. There's lots of room there. I've got tea chests, I've got a toy box, I've even got a piece of luggage. It will also give me, hopefully, a few more ideas of some other bits that I might need to make to put in the attic, because I want it to be, quite frankly, overcrowded. And yeah, let's get on with it. I'm going to begin by giving you a glimpse into my box of small stuff. This is a storage box that is far too big, and as you can see, it's very full. I could spend an entire video showing you stuff out of here, and well, some of you might like that, some of you might not, but there's hopefully some things in here that we can use for the attic. I've certainly got this little treasure chest that's never been finished, that is full of all kinds of old paperwork. That should be useful. There's all kinds of things in here. Some of it will definitely have a home elsewhere in the house as it develops. Some of it maybe not. But I just wanted to show you what I'm up against. And also I've actually got another smaller box within a box. Just take that lid off there. And that is absolutely full of stuff that I removed from pieces of furniture. This will hopefully give you a bit of an idea of what I'm up against when I say it's a big job. So I'm going to go back and look at the bits I've got for the attic and try and figure out what I want to do with them. Now obviously the main piece that I've got to dress is the cupboard. This has just given me some real grief because the drawer didn't want to come out. And these little ones. It's actually that one that's now in there. I've swapped it over. I had to force it out. I'm not going to tell you how, but I'm going to try and put that one in there and leave it off 3/4 of the way open, because I want one of the doors open so you can actually see that it's full. Same goes for the bottom drawer. I want that to be overflowing. As I think I might have mentioned in a previous video, I want it to look like the kids have been playing up here and pulling things out. So that's my main piece. Obviously, I've got my little case. I'm not sure what to put in that, whether to put some more clothes looking bits of fabric coming out, that sort of thing, so it looks like it goes with the kind of dressing trunk theme. We've got the toy box. We've got lots of toys, far too many toys that will fit in this, but I'm going to put some around it. I'll show you those in a moment. And then I've got my tea chests. Now, I know I want to put some Christmas decorations into the attic. They might go in a tea chest, they might go in a cardboard box, because I've been making some cardboard boxes to go in there as well. Now, my sort of vague plan, very vague, was I need some cardboard boxes. This is supposed to be a house that a younger family has moved into in addition to the existing older resident. So there's going to be boxes about. I have just made the boxes using some craft cardstock. That's craft with a K. It refers to this particular kind of brown cardstock that is quite popular for sort of more rustic looking projects. This is 250 GSM, I think, so it's quite sturdy. And all I've done is I've made out a rough template. Well, it's not a template. I think they call it a map. There's this particular name for it. You make out the layout of the box and then you fold it and stick it together. But I've just done those sort of randomly, drawn them, cut them out and stuck them together. You can find templates for this on the internet, which you could print onto paper and then stick onto card of some description. So it's quite easy to make your own cardboard boxes. So where to begin? Oh, that is the question, isn't it? I think I'm going to begin with the toy box, because I do actually know where most of the toys are, because I looked for a lot of them when we made that. So yeah, we'll start with the toy box. If you've watched the video where I made my castle toy box, you may remember that I made a stacking ring toy, my version thereof, at the same time. I also found a couple of toy boxes which may be worth fitting into the attic. I pulled out a little ragdoll type doll, and I found a couple of little miniature cars that are a bit on the old side and would need painting if I was going to include them. But I found those, and then I found, while I was sorting out my furniture, some more boxes of some more games that I've picked up over the years. Games that I definitely remember from my childhood. Now, I've also gone into a bit more modern, because I found these micro toy box toys. Now, these are just some that I've pulled out. I've got a few more. These are ones I thought I might use. And I also thought I might use the box that they come in. I figure if I make some kind of a lid for this, it would pass as a modern storage box. It's a bit on the big side. Now, I'll just slide that out of the way. I will move Grandmama in as my ever handy model. And you can see that it makes one of those really big storage boxes. We've certainly got some with some of our stuff, with some of our Christmas decorations, for instance, in. So it's a possibility. And I've also got, as well as Grandmama today, I've got young man who is normally with his bicycle. Now, if you've watched my original Doll's House tour video, you'll know that the only occupants were an elderly butler, this young chap and a baby. I never got the rest of the dolls, and we still only progressed to Grandmama, who needs her makeover. But I've brought him in because he's a child-sized doll, and so we can have a look at the scale of the pieces and see if we think they're going to move. So I'll move Grandmama on the plastic box, and I'll put him down on the table. Now, a couple of pieces that I saw that I really want to use are these Fisher-Price ones. They're iconic pieces, certainly for kids of my generation, and I think they work. If I put them next to him, they look to be the right kind of scale. There's actually one of these at my in-laws' house, and I'd say that it looks about the right kind of scale. A little teddy bear, well, who doesn't need a little teddy bear? And he'll be perfect for griming up without me feeling guilty about dirtying something that, at that scale. To get a real teddy bear would be quite expensive. So, and then we've got E-Man himself. You may sort of get the, what's it? E-Man is a bit big for my toy box, but I figure you get action figures in different scales these days. I don't know if somebody's come out with a modern E-Man that's bigger than the old ones. Don't really care. I've got a couple of My Little Ponies. They're the same pony, but I've got a plan for these that doesn't involve the attic. So they are probably going to be put aside and maybe even repainted. Glowworm, another iconic toy of a certain time. Bucket and Spade, I'd say that would work. And then I've got a couple of board games that I picked out. Connect 4, which although it's a modern version of the box, I suppose it could have ended up there. And then we've got this other one, which is Blockers. Now, I may keep these and put these into one of the living rooms as if they are current games that are being played. I'm not sure. So they can go aside for now, but it's given me a few more things. Now, because I want this toy box to sort of look like it's been well loved, I want it so that there are toys that don't necessarily belong there piled in it. So I think what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to put something inside to lift things up, because obviously if I put that in, all you're going to see is the handle. So that's going to have to go on the floor alongside. If that goes in, it disappears. So first job is going to be to make a little box to go inside to lift things up. So let's find some stuff to do that with. I made a little open box that I've put in the bottom of there. I just used a scrap of that card I got out before, and it's allowed me to try arranging the pieces. I've got the Buckaroo box shoved in at the back. I've got the Bucket and Spade, the little teddy bear that needs distressing some way, shape or form. I've got Glowworm, and of course I've got He-Man. I quite like how this is looking, and then I'm going to pile some other toys alongside it in a pile. Look like somebody's been chucking them about. Maybe use one of the boxes that I've made so it looks like they were boxed up and they've been chucked out. That's where I'm at the moment with this. I haven't stuck anything in place because I know I want to include more, and I don't know if I'm going to include another piece of furniture or one of the other boxes I've got to go with it. But that is at least a start. I've got something that I am fairly happy with. The next piece I'm going to look at is one of my tea chests. This is the smaller of the two that I've got, and I've got in mind to use this for some Christmas decorations. Now obviously the Christmas decorations that I've made for my doll's house don't exactly pack down into a neat little box to go in the doll's house attic. I wish they did. It just doesn't work out like that. So what I've got instead is I've got a selection of pieces that are kind of surplus to requirements. So I can make a little decorative piece that can fit in there. Now again, this is quite deep. I want these bits to be visible. I want you to be able to see what's in there. So what I've done is I've made a little box to go in there. Now I made the box an inch square, and then I've just stuck a slightly bigger top onto it because my tea chest is more than an inch square. It's just over 1.5 inches. So I can put that in, and then that could be glued in place, and that lifts it up 1 inch so that when I put my little box of outdoor Christmas lights, they can be put in the back and they can be visible. So if I show you that way, you can see that the box is visible. This is the kind of thing that I was talking about with the toy chest. It's about making the most of what you've got, not about just stuffing it as much in as possible. Now these bits I've got here are mostly purchased. This was purchased. I think I made the little wreath myself. There's some little Christmas crackers, and there's some rolls of Christmas wrapping paper, which are really cute, but what you do with them, apart from put them on a table inside your doll's house so it looks like somebody's wrapping a present. But if I put them in here, something like that, I've got quite a good high piece to make this work. Now the one thing that I do want to put in here is some baubles. Now I could make a box. There are lots of examples of boxes of baubles, vintage ones, that kind of thing, that I could find a photo of and replicate. I've seen some brilliant ones where people have done it and they've cut out part of the design so you can see that there's beads inside the box. I want something that looks a bit more modern, and what I've seen a lot of, especially since Christmas in the sales, are these plastic containers full of baubles. And I've got these little plastic containers. They're designed for storing small amounts of something. They're craft pieces, so I assume beads, or you could possibly put a small amount of, say, some chalk that you were using for pigment purposes. But I'm going to use it upside down as a pot of Christmas baubles. What I've got, I'll bring these in. I am ready. I've got some beads. Now these are just some purple beads in a couple of different sizes, and all I am going to do is I'm going to fit them into the pot. There's no more rhyme or reason to it than I'm putting them into the pot. You could glue them in place. By all means, glue them in place, you know, if you feel the need. But I'm just going to put them in the pot. I'm going to make sure that they fit in. I have actually practiced this off camera to make sure they fit, and then I'm going to put the lid on. And again, if you wished, you could glue that in place. I'm not at this stage because I may look and see if I've got some other beads that I can mix in with them. These were just what I could find in a quick what's it around my craft room. I'm going to take this lid off for a moment and grab my scissors, because I'm going to cut off this little tab that's designed to help you get the lid off easier. don't need it, it sticks out too much. And I take that off and I just put the lid on straight away. So I put it up that way. I've now got a container of baubles. Now I could put a sticker on there that says Christmas baubles, or as I'm more leaning towards, I just put it into my tea chest. That's what it is. And then I've got some Christmas baubles sticking up. Now if I was to put something else underneath that, wedge it a bit more, it could be a bit more visible. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the camera for a minute, and I'm going to have a play about with the positioning, and then we'll see what I can come up with. It has taken quite a bit of moving bits about, but I think I've got an arrangement that I'm happy with. And if I just turn it over so that you can see it properly, you can see that I've got bits sticking out, and I will add a little bit of glue. If I've got a bit on here still, just add a bit of glue down there, and just stick my tinsel to the outside of the box. Now the tinsel, I was going to have a bit more sort of curving out of the box, a bit more evident, but as you might be able to see on the mat, it's falling apart. This was actually some proper Doll's House tinsel that I bought, and I'm quite disappointed that it's falling apart, but it is quite old now. So I suppose we have to accept these things. But now I have my tea chest with my Christmas decorations, and it provides a good piece, a good view from almost every direction, just not that one, so I need to put it one of the other ways, and you can see all the bits, and that particular cracker is moving about a bit. I may have to get the tweezers and position it a bit better, but I haven't glued many of the pieces in, although I think this is going to be the final layout for this. So there we have it. I've now got a box of Christmas decorations. Well, I have just sent myself off down a right rabbit hole. I've been looking through my big box of little bits for things that I could possibly put into the linen press. Now I do want to include some fabric-y things, because I think fabric things look really, really good when they're spilling out. And obviously I want this drawer to be at least a little bit ajar, and I want this one to be partly open as well. At the moment I haven't really got anything. The only fabric pieces I've got are very definitely need to be hung up or need to be displayed so you can see what they actually are. So that's something I'm going to have to work on. But I have found a few bits, because obviously I'm going to need quite a bit to go in here. Now I think I'm going to have to make some pieces for in here, because most of the stuff I've got is quite generic, and with a spooky family, I don't know about you, but I'd be thinking that there'd be things that would reflect that sort of spookiness. But I've been through what I've got, and some of these will have been seen before if you watched my sort of trip down memory lane video, I think it was, where I showed off some of my favourite miniatures. But I think some of these can go in here. Now I've got these, which are, there's a wedding garter and a bridal veil. Now both of these are very well made, and they've got contents. You can see there's some lace in there to replicate a old-fashioned veil, and there's a little garter in that one as well. Now I think that the boxes need a little bit of distressing, and That kind of distresses me because obviously I've got to dirty them up a bit, age them rather than dirty them. But I think that they could quite happily go in on one of the shelves. They'll sit quite nicely, one on top of the other. I've got this shoebox, which I think is really cute. Don't know why I bought it, just because it was cute, I suppose. And because people use shoeboxes well after the fact for putting things in. Or in the case of miniaturists, for turning into things. Probably a room of some description. I know the very first room I ever made back when I was a child was made out of a shoebox. It wasn't very successful because I used some very basic paint on the inside, and the paint kept coming off on things. But I've got a shoebox. Now I could leave this outside, maybe making it look as if one of the younger members of the household has claimed it to put their own little treasures in, or it could just go in here. So for the moment, I'm just going to put this up there on the top shelf, put its lid on. Now I'm doing this with the one door shut because I am thinking of having one of the doors shut maybe. I don't know, that may change. Now I've also got these boxes, which I've got two of them. Very nice fronts, but then the sides are plain. But I'm thinking Meccano, Hornby trains. I'm thinking I may be able to stick them in that way. They will fit in that way. Well, I'm thinking I'm going to put it with the train set visible, because thinking back to our sort of spooky heritage, it's a sort of nod towards Gomez Adams and his love of crashing trains. So if we put these in here, something like this, yeah, that'd work. You can just see a little bit of a glimpse of that. And then I've got another one, which is a Airfix kit of a Morris Mini Miner, which would date back to probably around about 1960. I would reckon. And then if I put that in front, so you can just see the Hornby trains and then that, and maybe I've got a set of miniature glasses, long since forgotten. I'll put those in there. Some previous resident of the house has put their glasses down in the attic at some point and probably never saw them ever again. Let's just drop that down. Now the other piece I've got to go in here is this lovely little box, which is a sort of love letters, keepsake kind of a box. Again, it's a bit on the twee side for my spooky family, but it's a piece that I like. So I may dust that down with a bit of chalk, something like that. And then it can find a home in there, so it's not completely wasted. Now, as you can see, that is barely filling half of the linen press. I've got a long way to go. I need to come up with some spooky ideas. So if you've got a spooky idea you'd like to share, please do. You can share it in the comments, you can share it over on the Gothic Unicorns Facebook page. I would be more than happy to hear it. Now, when I said I discovered / rediscovered things I'd forgotten about, again, I wasn't kidding. Now, I found my little satchel, which is actually leather, and it's quite nice. And I'm thinking that that needs to hang on somewhere, maybe on the hat stand that I made the other week. That'd look quite nice, wouldn't it, hanging there? So that's something that I will probably use. I may have to age it down a bit. Again, I find it really difficult to age these pieces that have been handmade by people other than myself, but it's got to be done. I also found this nice shiny hat box that I've had for a good many years, and it reminded me that I made a hat box myself last week. I put it away and thought no more of it. This was from a kit. It's very nice, but I think it's missing a hat. It definitely needs a hat. So I sense hat making in the future. I may make a hat or hats to fit in those boxes. I may try and make something a bit more stereotypically witchy. Not sure yet. But I think that those, one or both, probably both, are going to end up in my attic. Again, there needs to be some distressing, because they wouldn't stay like that in an attic, would they? Especially not with generations of children taking the lid off to see what Grandmama has left in the box. Now, the other thing I found, which I'm quite pleased about, is this little wooden chest. Now, this is a piece that I think was sold as a toy chest, and it's not particularly brilliant. It's just got some tape holding it together at the back, hinging it. I don't know if I put that on there because the original hinge piece broke or what, but it's wooden, and so it's got some definite potential. Now, I'm liking the idea of this, even though it won't sit properly on my table, because I've always had this box. Now, this box, this little papier-mâché treasure chest, is full of miniature paperwork. Some of them are repeated, but there's lots of it. I've got a deed of grave, I've got a deed, I've got photos, as you can see here. That little passport, yeah, a little passport, a cheque, all kinds of things. Stuff that I picked up because I thought they'd be good for either filling a desk or for filling a box in an attic. I love old paperwork, so I sort of wanted to include that in the doll's house somewhere. So I'm thinking that with this piece, I want to set it up so that it's sort of wedged open, so there's something like this little nicely tied deed wedging the lid up, and then I have other pieces visible. And I've got some little gemstones in here for some reason. Don't know why, but I've got a couple of envelopes like that. Got another envelope there that might be an insurance policy. Oh, I've got a last will, maybe. That can go in. Birth certificate, marriage certificate, death certificate perhaps. I don't know, I haven't got lots of different ones, and they can be filled up, and you know, it can be made to look like somebody's been rooting in there. So I'm actually thinking that just from this little jaunt today, I've actually realised that I've got far more than I thought I had that can go in the attic, and that is great, because I was starting to worry that it was going to look too empty, and I don't want it to look too empty. In fact, I want it to look like it's really full and there's more than you can see further back. So yeah, I might not have filled the linen press, but I found some other things to fill, so we'll be back looking at this. Now, one of the other things that I have found is I found various pieces of ceramics. I found sort of dinnerware ceramics and some more ornamental ceramics. What I'm thinking is, with my nice tea chest, my other one, is to actually put a box in there to lift things up, and put some straw like they used to use for packing, and then have some old pieces of china sticking up, so it looks like they've actually been in the box for a long time, and somebody's gone rooting and gone, oh, I forgot we got those. So that's another idea that I've got. I've got so many ideas. Or I could put something into one of my cardboard boxes, and yeah, make it look maybe like a parcel that had been delivered, but they decided they didn't want it. I don't know. I'm doing my entire, oh wow, I've got so much on my mind. And I've got so many ideas in process for the doll's house at the moment that it is ridiculous. But yeah, I think we need to see where this takes us. And here we have my dressed pieces. Still a long way to go with the linen press. I think I'm going to have to make quite a bit of stuff to go in there, and probably some other bits to sort of be scattered around the attic. But I can at least see some kind of progress. I can see that some of the things I've got will work. The tea chest with the Christmas decorations, I'm really pleased with that. That is something that I had in mind to include, and I like it. And of course my toy box. Adding extra toys into it gives it so much more depth. I'm sorry that this video has been a bit more brainstormy and a bit less makey, but this is the stage of the doll's house work that takes the time. Figuring out what you want to actually get that look. And it can be as simple as thinking, oh, well, I need this there. Then you suddenly find something, or you find an idea and you think, I can make that, and the entire room comes together. I'm struggling with the attic a little bit because it's pretty difficult to actually film into that part of the doll's house because it's so high up. So that's why I'm doing lots of things on the mat, so to speak. I will be updating you with the actual room. We've had progress on the electric lights, and I'm going to be able to fit the floor in and things like that soon, and actually make some progress. So yeah, I've put some things together, and putting things together, you know, it's always worthwhile. It's always great because you then start to see that your vision will work, and I think my vision's going to work. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, please like, comment and subscribe. I upload pretty much every week, normally on a Friday, sometimes on a Saturday. It all depends. You know, life gets in the way sometimes. But until next time, bye.